signed in as me?
I did.
Okay, good, because I don't have the feature, so that's good.
And I changed my name and everything, so
Awesome.
I'm getting good at this Zoom thing. You guys, welcome. It's Monday night, December 10th, and we're going to have our awesome final team Zoom of the year. And we are going to end on a note that doesn't end. It's really a beginning. And I'm really excited that my friend Sarah Davison Tracy wanted to share some thoughts with us tonight. And I think this is such a great way to end the year. I am almost finished with her book, Live, Ablaze, and Light Up the World. And as I'm reading this book, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is us. This is our mission to really help people up-level their health, up-level their finances, really up-level and have a mission in life. So many things that we're seeing and hearing out there is people want a bigger sense of purpose, and Sarah speaks to that. So I'm going to tell you guys just a little bit about her. And actually, I have to start with how I met Sarah, which is really great. Her husband is a pediatrician in our community, and he actually gets his Juice Plus from Dr. Emily Gerson on our team. And I was sitting in a little lodge room in Mesa Verde this summer, texting him about his order. I was on a road trip with my boys, and after I sent a couple text messages to customers, I went into the gift shop to buy a bottle of wine and have it on this like gorgeous porch where we were staying. And when I walk in the gift shop, there's Dr. Davison Tracy. And you guys might have remembered one of my fun crashes of this year, I had stitches in my chin. So he saw the stitches and was kind enough to take them out the next morning with Sarah recording it live on Facebook. And then we went and toured Mesa Verde, and I got to know her and just a little bit about her passion through social media of what she's doing. And she's just really helping people ignite what's important to them and do something about it, to know that each and every one of us can make a difference. So she lives here in Denver, Colorado, with her family, her husband, her two children, Sophie and Micah, who are awesome kids, and she is a devoted human rights activist. She's an author, speaker, and she's also founder of Seeds of Exchange, which I know I posted in the information about the call. She's published 2 books, Live Ablaze and Light Up the World, and another book called Soulfully Ablaze, also will be on my list to read. And that's a 40-day journey to light up your life and the world. And she feels that these books will really meet you right where you are. I 100% agree. So many feel low in inspiration and energy, or high in overwhelm and stress. Anyone this time of year? Others lack a deep sense of belonging, value, or purpose, and are worn out with all the self-help, I think, stuff that's out there. So this book really takes you on an adventure that's different, and she is going to share more with us tonight. So welcome, Sarah.
Thank you. It's so good to be here. I have my little headset in case my family gets noisy because I don't have a door in my office. It's good to meet all of y'all. I have my Zoom and like the tile where I get to see videos and pictures, and it's just very, very special. So Ellen, do you want me to just like dive in? Do you have any ways you like to start your calls that I can follow your guys' lead on, or how do you want to go?
Well, I would love for you to dive in and share some thoughts with us, and also leave it open for maybe some Q&A at the end, because I know one of the things about you is you're really passionate about getting to know people, so and what their stories are. And I'll just tell you, every single person here has a really unique story. A really unique journey. They got here in a variety of unique ways. They're all over the world, all walks of life. And I think you do such a good job of speaking to that.
Oh, man. Thank you. Well, it's a huge honor, y'all, to be sitting in among all these beautiful tiled faces and people that I don't yet know. Hi, Miss Emily. I see you, sister. So my name, thank you, Ellen. I'm just gonna dive in, and we'll end it like at 5 till 7 for sure for Q&A, and then dinner and bedtime and all. Okay, all right. So my name is Sarah, and exactly what Ellen said is my heartbeat, which is any opportunity I have to sit in a circle, whether it's a virtual one like this, or one in my home where I host community gatherings as often as I can, and just talk about things that matter to each one of us. And one of the things that I love to talk about that Ellen and I circled around this summer when we were together is just the power of each of us sharing our stories in that like pull back the curtain sort of a way, like in a keep it real, you know, what's hard, what's amazing, what's inspiring, what's challenging, and really finding the threads of connection between all of our stories. So in my dreams someday, I would love to be able to dive in and like really hear from each of you, because that's my passion. But I would love if you'd permit me to we have a tradition in the way I love to host gatherings and be a part of gatherings is to start it with a little bit of community inspiration. So does anyone have like something that has, maybe two people, something that has inspired you, a story, a poem, something that you could share in like a minute or two, just in your everyday life today or yesterday, like very real time, recent? Any community inspiration we can start with? TikTok? Anyone?
You'll have to unmute yourselves.
Okay.
Anybody?
I saw a hand. Did Susan raise her hand? No?
Oh yeah, let's hear from Sue Conhood, please, down in Arizona.
Well, the weather is warm in Arizona. What can I say? The community that I would like to speak about, Sarah, is that we have been working very much with our tower gardens, and we've been putting them into the local elementary schools, as well as senior centers, restaurants. And as far as a community effort goes, I have been working with a group called the Sunrise Optimist Club, and they have been helping to sponsor tower gardens for the schools. So this has been a huge community effort to finally have, well, after 2 years of hard work, to finally have tower gardens, okay, Rocco, excuse me, to finally have tower gardens in the schools, having the kids growing their own vegetables, having them be able to eat fresh produce each and every day for lunch has been a huge thing. And if kids can grow their own food, you know they're going to enjoy it. They're going to continue to remember this. They're going to continue to understand the importance of having more vegetables in their diet each and every day. So on a community effort, I want to also thank Vicki Magano, if she's on this call tonight, and just say she was very inspirational to help me really get my ball rolling here in Arizona to get more tower gardens into the elementary schools. So thank you for that.
Beautiful, beautiful. Anyone else? So the idea is that we start any conversation in that sense of like the beauty and the hope and the goodness that is amidst all of the hard and the challenge. So any other, like I said, a story or something you read that you could share with the circle to get us going? No? All right. I'm sure the second we hit unmute, does anyone want to raise their hand if you want to make sure you can?
I will share something.
All right.
I just thought this was an amazing kind of connection. So I have, on Monday mornings, I have a little Bible study with some women from church. And it's kind of a challenge on Monday mornings, because you know how Monday mornings are. It's just like tsunami of life coming your way. So we take this hour and we just, have coffee and we talk about the sermon from the day before and some scripture. And, this morning we were just talking about how the holidays hit, and, there's stuff that's great and hard and challenging, and, the crazy relatives and the expectations, dealing with kids' expectations, of Santa Claus, and all that kind of stuff. And one of the things that I've been kind of marinating is being thankful in every circumstance. And I just opened my email right before this call, and I had this little devotional email to me. And he was talking about, you don't have to be thankful for something hard, but be thankful in each situation, because really great things can come out of it that we can learn from. And it was amazing to me how that kind of threaded from this morning into tonight.
I love that. That's beautiful. Thank you. Oh, Reagan, you have something?
I do. Just a quick one.
Okay.
Also in that realm of gratitude, we have a team member whose niece got a vaccination, the Gardasil vaccination, and within 2 days is in the hospital and not doing well. And of course, you know, the doctor said there's no way it could have been that, but it's the timing of it has been way too coincidental and very scary. And so I reached out to our fellow national marketing directors across the world, and I have just been flooded with advice from some of the very top physicians in the world, natural medicine people, chiropractors, moms that have had the same thing happen, story after story. And honestly, it makes me teary-eyed, because I think, oh my goodness, the fact that everybody is so willing to step up and help this poor baby, you know, and to be in this community where we really are resources for other people, makes me just go, you know what, I am so glad that I get to do this and that we get to really inspire healthy living together. It's pretty cool.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you, Reagan. That's amazing. Love it. Okay, so we're going to dive in, as Ellen and I were talking about the myriad of ways we could spend a few minutes together. We landed on just a very brief kind of pointing and touching in on these things that I call 4 Bs. 4 Bs that light up our life in the world. Bs like B-E-S, Bs. So being still, which Ellen, you already mentioned that. I mean, we're in one of the fastest, most inundated in terms of social media and glitz and glamour of marketing messages than we ever are all year long, in America at least. So being still amidst whatever is happening, the real, the raw. So I have a very tiny little practice that will just take 20 seconds, 30 seconds to do together. And then living beloved, that sense of, you know, really moving through our days with that sense of incredible intrinsic value and worth in each of our individual selves, that is not based on doing more to be more, that is not based on what we aren't doing that takes away value, or what we are doing that adds to it. And we, I just have believed, based on some pain points in my life through, I mean, back to when I have a 13-year-old daughter, and Sophia, and back to when I was a kid, looking at the times of the greatest struggle and the greatest hustle and the greatest kind of feeling kicked in the gut, were all around feeling like I wasn't doing enough, or if I only, once I did that next thing, then my worth meter would go up, or my impact. I mean, I'm gathering that y'all are in the business of making a difference in people's lives in terms of their bodies and their health, minds and spirits, the whole thing, which I think is amazing and so important. And there's this thing that happens for me as also like a hope, with my whole heart, hoping to be a change maker and making a difference in the world, that there's also this sense of like, how do I also just like kind of take a breath and hunker down and just say, it is well with my soul right here and right now, before I do the next thing. Before, like last night at 11 p.m., I submitted my first draft of my next book to my editor. And it was, 40 hours of writing in a 4-day period. And so it was just this like kind of work. But how do we do the work without that sense of hustle? Like, how do we do the work with that sense of like, value is here, purpose is here, worth is here, dignity is here. And so that's the second B, be loved, or just living as we are loved. And then the third B that we've talked about is this sense of belonging. And I know it's so geeky, but I love these Zoom calls where I get to see all these faces and names, and this sense of like this global human family. that we are all so woven, and the potential, I think, for us to be more woven and interconnected in the ways that, kind of like Reagan was saying, with those babies. There we go. With those babies, you know, when someone is hurting, how do we rally where the burden isn't on one person, but collectively the impact is huge when we have that sense of, dang, like, we belong to each other. We really, really do. And what happens when that becomes more embedded in our DNA and the way we think and the way we act and the way we speak. And then the fourth B is this idea of being love, which I believe I'm talking with a circle of people that's in your work. You're serving people's physical whole selves in a beautiful way. And I know as a community, that's a high value of yours. So it's like, how do we take being still, living beloved in this community and just find innovative, jaw-dropping ways to make a difference in like that ripple way, like in our kind of households and in our neighborhoods and in the world. So those are kind of the 4 B's that I believe, because of challenges in my life when I have not embraced some of those B's, and they've led to overwhelm and they've led to feeling really isolated, you know, very busy, isolated. And they've led to hustle, like feeling like I can't quite stop, because if I stop, then that brings the value down. So I talk about these B's because I have needed them, like they've been a gift to me. So I wanted to, Ellen and I talked about just taking a moment. And again, it's going to be a short one because I know y'all are movers and shakers and up to amazing things in the world. But I wanted to just take a moment and, you know, as we go into our evenings, take a moment to be still. So I have these, I call them places of pause in my books. I have 10 of them in Live Ablaze and 40 of them in Soulfully Ablaze. And they are these threefold elements of being still and pondering and engaging. And just like, how do we get into this rhythm that's has some energy and some momentum that feels good, but also has some like pause, like to take a breath. So this first bit is the pause. So if you're willing, I invite you to like just close your eyes. And again, like I said, 30 seconds, not a crazy long thing. Be still together. And feel your feet on the ground and your tail feather in your chair or your sofa. And take a breath. So right here, right now, breathe. Inhale deeply, fully. Exhale deeply, fully. Soften your jaw, your eyebrows, and breathe. Do some gentle neck circles. Listen to your heart. Look within. This is not a place to strategize, to figure out. This is a place to be. If there are places in your body where you're feeling tight, let go. Let go of worry. Just notice. Imagine softening your furrowed brow or constricted stomach or tight jaw. Take 3 deep, full breaths. Close your eyes. Just be. Here and now, trust, just trust. Do less. Try less. Push less. Be open. Let go. Be. All right. if you've closed your eyes, go ahead and open them. And taking in those ideas. Okay, full disclosure, this pediatrician husband of mine that Ellen is talking about, he's standing outside the door that I'm looking at doing a dance because he knows exactly what we're doing. So he's like trying to be a goofball. That's what happens, by the way, in being still. Like all kinds of interruptions come, and the wild practices. How do we cultivate and find the levity in the moment? And whose dog was barking when we were first starting? Was it Susan? Sue? I mean, without fail, Sue, when I'm on a Zoom call or an interview or a podcast, I have in my desk drawer like dog treats, because that's when the squirrel comes right outside the window and like looks at my dog and she goes crazy. And it's just crazy how funny those things are. So I'm just curious, in our lives, because what I have come in my life to believe, and in my work, I get to talk with people all over the world that are up to incredible things, from, mamas raising their babies, sort of incredible, to, human rights activists fighting human trafficking in Southeast Asia. Like the whole thing is part of this epic, amazing story we have. And what strikes me all the time in those conversations and watching these friends of mine and change makers do their thing is that it doesn't matter where we are in the trajectory of change making or the trajectory of, are you going to join? Come on over. Come here.
Hello.
Here's my man.
I was walking the dog.
Ellen just told a story.
Oh, hi.
Hey.
Hi, everyone.
This is Brandon.
Sorry to interrupt. I was just walking the dog and making fun of my wife in the window, so I apologize.
So anyway, the thing that I love about this idea of sitting together and taking a moment to be still and taking a moment to pay attention to, like, where is it aching, or where are we tired, or where are we not feeling as healthy as we dream and hope to be, or where are we truly overwhelmed? Like, yes, we want to be spiritually grounded and enlightened and connected and growing, but then where are those things not happening? And so what I love about these being still in the midst of the work that is like pulsing in our hearts to do is that I believe it fuels us from that place of, like, for the marathon that we are all on, because this change making and making a difference in people's health and people's bodies and people's minds and spirits, it's not like the magic wand thing. It's just, the God together as a circle, as a community doing it. And that's why this weaving of these kind of both ands, I call them, of being and doing and receiving and giving and loving and being loved. They just all kind of make for this juicy way of living life that really does, as Ellen said, the hope and the dream is that it meets wherever we are. We don't have to pretend. We don't have to prepare. We don't have to hustle. We just show up and bring ourselves to the table and do what we can with what we've got, with the people that we get to serve and do life with. So I'm curious, Ellen, when you talked about questions for the last 5 minutes, do you want to, I can lead that. I can follow your lead. What do you want to do?
Yeah, no, I want to ask a question, because
yes, please.
You just said something, when you talked about the 4 B's and the last one being love, going out there and being love and being in service to others, finding innovative ways to make a difference. And you talked before that about belonging and how do we really rally? You talked about sometimes in communities we rally to share a burden, right? And I think that we are incredible in that. In our team, we rally to share a joy. Someone has a promotion, someone has a baby, whatever. rallying around a mission is something that we have really embraced this year. And it's just been extraordinary. And when you heard Sue talking, like, this is the picture that went through my head, is that this community, these kids will eat fresh produce and learn about growing it and remember this and carry like a muscle memory of this the rest of their lives because of the work that these women that are out there doing. It's awesome. And I thought back in my life and I thought, you know, if I was like taking my last breath, who would I be thanking? What would I be thankful for? Wow. It's the people that made an impact in your life, right? And they didn't, maybe they weren't asked to, and maybe they don't even know they made an impact, but how do we really, you know, belonging to each other, rally around our mission and make that kind of an impact for people? Yeah.
I love that. And one of my favorite, Mother Teresa is one of my kind of heroes. And one of my favorite quotes of her is where she's talking about her community, and it's in the same spirit, Ellen, of what you were just saying. It's talking about her community and saying, I mean, they were loving on lepers and serving people that were having like in their last days of life, taking their last breaths, like really epic, amazing things in the face of poverty. But what she said was her number one value in her work, in her community, was starting every interaction with a smile. Because she was saying, like, from a smile, it's that initial act of love, that initial act of, sorry. No, okay, no worries. That initial act of love and that sense of like, that's what it's all about, the belonging and the being loved part of like, you're a valuable person and I'm going to pause in the midst of whatever I might have to say or do or think and just have a moment and share a smile and connect with you as an individual. And I love that was one of the things she talked about, because what you're saying, Ellen, is it's like the small things that really make a difference. And of course those ripple, we hope, into some epic, amazing impact. But I think there's some beautiful humility in that. So I love it. And I'm with you.
Well, and absolutely, maybe you can speak to this too. I think it makes the workload easier, and I think it makes the work more joyful. You know, in a business like ours, where there's numbers and there's a compensation plan and there's levels to ascend. You can get really fixated on, achievement, which that can quickly lead to overwhelm, isolation, hustle syndrome. Totally. And hustle isn't all bad. Hard work is great for us, but doing it from the right place, which is what I love about your book of these 4 B's, doing it grounded in your values, intrinsic, whatever, that goes without saying. So maybe just speaking to that again for a second.
Yeah. So, I mean, for me, the thing that I've noticed in my life and in the lives of people around me, because again, I just have this incredible work of getting to be a part of community conversations and people that are really living their lives as best they can, connected to others and looking to make a difference. The thing that I notice is the hustle that you're talking about, the hard work you're talking about, of course, like it all, we can't do it while eating bonbons on the couch sort of a thing. But for me, there's this tipping point that happens of when the hustle is way too much about me, or is way too much feeling like it is all me. And I've somehow like eclipsed myself from connection with other people. For me, like my connection with God, with the sacred, with the mysterious, like what I'm able to do beyond like my human capacity. I have to be in touch with that. Otherwise, I can feel it in my body. I get rigid and like very like fast moving versus kind of in that sense of flow. Like, yeah, I got some things to do. And like that warrior, like I got some things to do. There's some challenges in the world that really matter to me that I am going to show up for, that I will fight for. But the second it switches into this, like, it's all about me. It's all about, I I am all responsible for it, and I am eclipsed and isolated from people around me, then I know I'm in the danger zone. For me, that's like and that's why the be still, like I said, I had this huge deadline last night, and I can feel I'm really tired. It was a lot of short nights of sleep, which is fine in a deadline mode. But for me, if I carry that on as my rhythm and my pacing, I know that's a setup for not really being able to live life, really paying attention to people around me and paying attention to my heart, like my why, my love, my passion, my purpose. It's all hard and rigid and forced. So I love that you spoke, Ellen, to the work at hand. And there's just, it's like quiet discernment, the soulful discernment in that. So.
There is. I love that. I'm writing that down. And I think you said, and you think about this, you guys, as you close the year out, pick the challenges for 2019 that matter to you. She just said this, and that's what you show up for. And that's like prioritizing with a heart. I'll call it that. We want to be leaders that lead from the heart. That's really what we all want to do here. And leading is not just what you're doing in Juice Plus, it's what you're doing in every area of your life. If you're a parent or a spouse or a sibling, you're taking care of an aging parent, you're working at another job, whatever it is, you're showing up and you're leading at least yourself, or you're leading some other people. So leading from that heart with that soul purpose. Let's open it up. You guys throw some good, juicy questions or comments out. You'll have to unmute yourself. I'm gonna put it back in gallery view. Patty Benson.
Hey, Ellen, how are you?
Great. It's so good to see you and Bobby tonight.
Thank you. Well, first of all, in the very beginning, I was very confused. I couldn't figure out where we were going. And then all of a sudden, Sarah, everything just clicked and I was totally engaged, and especially after we did the exercise, because I was in pain here this evening. And when you said focus on letting that pain go, it's really pretty bizarre, but it's gone. And I think you're so right. I feel like that's kind of, I'm always in that hustle, bustle, go, 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 run, run, run mode, trying to accomplish. And I'm not sure I ever spend the time to do what you just said to do. So thank you very much. I don't really have a question except for how can I get your books? Thank you very much.
Well, I'll be holding you and thank you. That's a beautiful sharing. And I think it's incredible what happens, right? When we just take a breath and, you didn't do anything. You just not did. You just undid for a moment. And so blessings to you and that pain you spoke of. And thank you for sharing.
Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Yes. We'll get how to buy a book info at the end. Anybody else that wants to share, ask a question?
I just want to say that, this is my first team call, but definitely wasn't what I was expecting, and I loved it. I was super surprised when Sarah was talking about being a human rights activist, because I'm going to Regis next year to study peace and justice, to become a human rights activist, and my presentation's on human trafficking in India. So I was just like, whoa, oh my gosh.
Wow.
But I just think that's so cool that I can have a connection like that with somebody in a business like Juice Plus, which is sort of unrelated, but I like that I'm able to meet people that are super connected. So yeah, that was really cool when you're talking about that.
Well, just to you, is it Annalise? Is that how you say your name?
Anna Alsbury. Yeah. Anna.
All right. So just for Anna and anyone, I love, and I believe, I'm with you, girl, there's no accidents, that everyone's on this call. I profoundly believe we are all here for a unique reason and purpose to connect with each other in this moment. So please, Ellen, share my email and my phone number. I would love to continue the conversation in whatever ways you guys are excited about. And Anna, I mean, I have a bunch of friends in India and in Nepal that are doing work in that arena. And if you want any connections, let me.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
And you guys find Sarah on Facebook and Instagram. She's Seeds of Exchange on Instagram. That's a great way to connect with her and that ongoing dialogue.
Yeah.
Who else? Anybody else want to share anything?
I would love to share. Sarah, thank you so much. I have your book. I've been reading it. I just really identify with your message of being, and it's kind of the journey that I'm on right now. And being and able to make impact at the same time is really kind of fascinating. That presence that allows for you to really be and show up in people's lives, I think is really impactful. And no matter if I loved in the book about this idea of like the difference between it takes all of us, like that connection of all of us doing the things in the world that matter to each of us, or that is pulling on our heartstrings. And no matter if that's in your own neighborhood or even just in your own little family unit or globally,
Yep.
It all matters.
Yep.
And together, it's all of us rising up together and living brave and ablaze in the world, which I just love the title, because that's really truly what it takes. And I just think that it's just beautiful work that you're doing. And I just want to say I'm grateful, and it's impacting lives. So it's impacting mine. So thank you.
Oh my gosh. Thank you, Mel. I appreciate that so much. And I believe that there's something you touched on that I want to just circle back to. And I was actually talking with a business coach of mine about a month ago, and we had a conversation where he said, man, Sarah, there's something about, it was this conversation where you're talking about of impact and living ablaze and a life of service. And what we kind of circled back to is there's kind of a funny message that's very prevalent, I think, in the personal transformation or self-help, self-growth arena of like, you know, you need to love yourself in order to be able to be of service. And I believe there are critical moments where like we really are at rock bottom, where we need to fill our cup up a few drops before we can love. But I just contest that sense of like philanthropy is for the millionaires, or change making is for, you know, the Angelina Jolies. Like it's for all, like I believe it's just these seeds planted in all of us, that all of us get that privilege of saying, whether it's just stopping at a stoplight to look at someone that's asking for money and giving a smile instead of just worrying about, like, it's not the big stuff all the time. It's like that sense of like, what can I do to love, to connect, to serve, or to be loved, or to say like, I need that, like to honor people in our lives and be like, I'm in a bugger of a moment, you know, and that same reciprocity of serving and being served and loving and being loved, and saying like, I'm going to do it now, like not tomorrow, but now with whatever I got, even if it's a drop, or if it's the ocean, like so I love that you mentioned that, because I think that's part of the warrior part of me. Like, we don't need to wait until we're millionaires or have infinite time and energy. Like, we're just going to start with where we are. And I think that's incredibly encouraging to me.
I love that. Yeah. I love that. Because that's coming from, and we don't have to be perfect people to do that. You know, that's the other thing. There's so many myths, I think, around perfection, hustling for your value. All these kinds of things are so prevalent in our culture, but you just have no idea, you guys, what an impact you can make just showing up, being you, and just showing up to those challenges that are at hand. Sometimes just the challenges presenting themselves. A lot of times, a lot of times we say, oh gosh, I'm just a mom. I'm at home with little kids, and I used to say I was the chief butt wiper or something like that. But it matters. Somebody had to wipe those booties, and that's how we get the kids to where they are now. So we too often minimize just the value of who we are, and just those things like a smile. And I think we've heard it so many times at conferences and from the main stage, a smile starts a conversation, and a smile is disarming, and it immediately starts to create trust. And that's what we want to do. We want to create trust with people so we can partner and really help them up level their lives from wherever they are. And when you walk into it wholeheartedly, like Sarah's teaching us, people feel safe to show up as they are because you're willing to show up as you are.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Yeah.
Well, this was really, really good. So, Sarah, tell us about where to read a little bit more about you, get your books.
Yeah. So what's the best? I mean, I'm happy to, first of all, you can go to seedsofexchange.org in terms of websites, sarahdavisontracy.com. But Ellen, I mean, I would love to just send you, social media handles and websites people can just click on or call me and just, do you do follow-up emails or calls from the calls? Because if so, I'll send you all that stuff.
Okay.
Put it in the deets of the call.
Awesome.
But I guess the last thing I would love to just say is that I have this other metaphor in life of being like this treasure hunt of like following the breadcrumbs. And so if there's been anything that someone said in the circle of this powerful media of Zoom, that made your heart break a little or ache a little, or, had that rise of inspiration and joy, the nudge for me is always like, what's my next step? Like, cause I think a lot of times life is more foggy than clear. But like, is there one step? Like, what Anna was saying about what are the odds? She's on a Juice Plus call and she happens to talk to someone that's also passionate about human trafficking. I mean, that's both wild and so how things are in our lives when we're in flow and in sync and right where we're supposed to be. So whatever kind of pricked at your heart, please, if it's to connect with me or someone else on the call, or to take a little more care of yourself in the midst of the incredible work you're doing, like follow that, if I may humbly nudge, because I have to tell myself that all day long myself, because there's a lot of other clamor, like do this, go there, do that. But like, what's the one thing, if you could say like, that is what I want to do. That's the conversation I want to have. That's the direction I want to move in. Maybe you don't know the whole thing, but what's the step? So thank you. This is like quite awesome to be with y'all tonight. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for being with us. We are going to wrap up the call and say goodnight and just give Sarah some applause and some virtual hugs. And for sharing her Monday night time with us during a busy season. And Reagan, you want to take, Mel, you guys want to say something to close the call tonight?
I just want to say thank you so much. What a well-timed person to have during this crazy, crazy time that we have. Yeah, and just to remember to slow down a little bit is fantastic. And yeah, we'll definitely get everything put out so that people can get those resources. And I just so appreciate you and you taking your time to come and share with us. So thank you.
Oh, I'm honored and I'm excited to be a part of the Juice Plus community. I will tell you, I made 3 Juice Plus smoothies this morning, one for myself and one for my daughter and her friend when they were on their way to a 7 a.m. basketball practice. So, I mean, you guys are fueling my life every day. So thank you. Thanks to Ellen.
Well,
thanks to Ellen and Emily.
We met in Mesa Verde. I mean, you guys, you know how this is. If you're going to be the Juice Plus lady or gentleman, just always have it around. But after they took my stitches out, I was stuffing shakes in the back of their car, and off they went to Tahoe.
It was awesome.
Mel, do you want to add anything?
Oh, I don't know. I just am so blessed by this conversation, and just this time of year, like Reagan said, it's just so important. And I think if we're really going to be impactful and present, it's so important to be still and I just love that message. So thank you for fueling us, ready to go into this awesome season, rather than thinking about it crazy, thinking about it as just the amazing beauty it is intended to be, the celebration of life, of people, the people that you love and care about, and get the opportunity to spend time with. So thank you, Sarah. This is just a perfect message to send us into this amazing season. So thank you.
Yes. You're welcome. Thank you, guys.
Well, thank you everyone for being you this year. And these teams had an incredible year. There was so much transformation. There was so much impact created. And I know 2019 is going to be full of blessings and beautiful surprises. And I really look forward to it. And certainly reach out to all of us, all your leaders during the holidays, and keep those channels of communication open, and just have fun out there loving on people.
Totally. Can I read one? This just came to mind.
Yes.
We read this for closing. This is in the whole theme is not the end. This is how my book ends, but how this call isn't. This is totally not the end. We're ending 2018 and leaping into 2019, right? So the journey continues, not the end. We hope this journey or conversation has held up a mirror so that you see yourself in the world with new eyes, has illuminated a long-held passion or a brand new one, has encouraged and inspired you, has ignited you with vision and strategy for increased connection, which is what sales are, right? I mean, it's like looping people into being connected with you and themselves and their purpose, which is, I know what you guys do, has energized you with a sense of your one-of-a-kind purpose on the planet, has filled you to the brim with curiosity, elevated the dignity of all, including your own, and has lit you up with hope, love, and joy. From this day forward, you belong here. We belong to each other. So let's stand tall together and light up the world.
Love it.
Yay! All right, light it up.
Light it up. Go just
Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Hanukkah.
See you guys in January.
All of
Thank
that.
you, Sarah.
Bye, you guys.
Love
Bye,
you all.
Sarah.
Good night.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Oh, hey, Todd.